So you want to play Xing Tian, but the only problem is you don't know how. Fret not, because I will teach you how to play Xing Tian. I'll teach you what his abilities do, what abilities to level first, and how to build him. So let's go ahead and get into it. Xing Tian's passive is called Smoldering Ridge. What it does is each time you hit an enemy god or a minion with this ability, you gain HP 5. This is what it looks like to gain these stacks. Quick little tip if you're going to play Xing Tian really good is you want to constantly keep this meter up as full as possible, always, because you just get HP regen through the fight, and it's useful. So let's move on to Xing Tian's 1. Xing Tian's 1 does a lot. It's a line attack that does tick damage that is based off the enemy's HP, while also reducing their basic attack damage if fully leveled up to 50%, and it lasts for 4 seconds. This is what you're going to be leveling for lane clear, and also it does a decent bit of damage. So let's move on to his 2. Xing Tian's 2 knocks enemies up before slamming down, rooting them. This could hit several people. I'll show you in a second. Here we go. It could root several people, and it's extremely annoying to play against. Xing Tian's 3 is a jump. After the first jump, you could jump twice, but if you wait 3 seconds, the ability will go on cooldown, and you will lose the ability to use your second jump. You could use this to jump in, attack someone, and then retreat, or if you hit your 3 on an enemy, you get 4 seconds of protections. You get increased protections. Now, this could go up to 40 protections, that's physical and magical, and can be really useful if you're jumping into a fight. Xing Tian's ultimate, he picks up the enemies, slings them around, and then throws them in the directions he's facing. Now, you could chain this into other abilities, and that's what I recommend doing, because it's very annoying. But you could pick up an entire enemy team, throw them out of position, and just have your team just clean up. It's very useful, but most of the time it's countered by people using beads. But it's just a great way to get people to use their beads, or they'll get caught in it and then thrown in whatever direction you wish. When playing Xing Tian, you want to get his 1 first, then his 2, then his 3. Put any points you can into his ultimate when you can. The first thing you want to max is your 1. The second thing you want to max is your 2. And the next thing you want to max is your 3. Pretty easy and simple to remember. But let's move on to the build. If you haven't already, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if this has helped you play Xing Tian whatsoever. But into the build portion we go. Starter items. My go-to starter item is Sentinel's Gift. Tainted Steel is good against anybody who heals or life steals. Very useful. And War Flag is also valid if you want to get that. Gauntlet of Thebes is my go-to item when I'm playing support. It's very awesome. It gives you physical and magical protections to your allies as an aura, and when you stack this bad boy, it also gives you a bunch of physical and magical protections. It gives you 250 health and 15 HP 5 right off the bat. When it's evolved, it gives you the same HP and HP 5, but gives you the extra added 50 magical and physical protections. Next item I like to get is Emperor's Armor. Gives you 300 health, getting you some awesome bulk, and 60 physical protections. Very useful as well. Now, basically what it does, Tower Phoenixes, I'm not too sure about Titans, but it reduces their attack speed by 30% and also increases your towers and Phoenixes, and maybe Titans, don't quote me on that, by 50%, which is awesome when you're playing against people who like diving you a lot, or if you want to dive the enemy team yourself. Emperor's Armor is very useful. Next item I like to get is Mail of Renewal, giving you 250 health, 15 HP 5, 30 physical protections, and 30 magical protections. Basically, when you're hit by an enemy god, you gain a stack. These stacks stack up to 5 times, and they give you increased protections of 4 for each one of them. When you hit the 5th stack, which is the max stack, of course, you get an immediate heal for 15% of your maximum HP, and your allies get a 15% of their maximum HP, but it's an overtime heal for the next 10 seconds. So, it's very useful, very good item, Mail of Renewal. Manticore Spike is the next item I like to get. It is the meta. It gives you 35 physical and magical protections, giving you 300 health and 20 MP5. It's very useful. And basically, anytime you hit an enemy god with a hard crowd control, you drop a spike on the ground. The spike, when picked up, gives your allies the buff to deal bonus damage on their next ability equal to 4% of their maximum HP. Now, if you pick this up, your next ability will do 8% of your max HP when you're playing a Guardian. That is a bunch. Now, that's very useful. The next item I like to get is Heartward's Amulet, giving you 55 magic protections and 250 HP. It's very useful. And it gives you the aura effect, giving your allies an increased 15 magical protections, and increasing their MP5 by 30, which is really useful. I meant to this earlier, but, you know, Sentinel's Embrace is the way to upgrade your starter item. And the next thing I like to get is Amulet of the Stronghold. Now, as you can see, our magical protections are 292. Our physical protections are much higher at 323. Now, when we get this bad boy, let me go ahead and refresh, it gives us the literal max magical protections, and, you know, we have the same physical protections, but we almost have max protections in both categories, so this will help you a lot. Of course, you have almost 4k HP, which is awesome. You have a bunch of HP 5, which is very useful in Xing Tian. And I guess I could talk about other items that are very good. In a match, I always like to grab Magi's Cloak if I'm getting silenced or stunned a lot. Magi Cloak is very good because it eats a hard crowd control for you every 70 seconds. It's very useful. Now, Midgardion's Mail is the next thing I really like to get. Midgardion's Mail lowers the enemy's attack speed if they hit you with a basic attack. It's good against anybody basic attack oriented, and of course hunters. Now, Winged Blade, it immunes the slow and makes you faster. It can only happen every 30 seconds, but is very useful. Pridwin is also very useful. After you use your ult, it gives you this bubble shield that explodes and deals damage to enemies, and it gives you 20% cooldown reductions, 30 physical and magical protections. It's very useful. Relics. Let me sell one of them so I could really show you. Shell is what I like to get. Shell's one of my favorites. You could get Meds. Meds is also pretty good. You could always get Heavenly Wings. That's good. Do not get Thorns. Thorns is literally the worst relic in the game. If you get Thorns, you're an actual bot. So don't get Thorns and be a bot. You could get Sundering Spear if you could hit it. And, you know, Horrific Emblem. These are my go-to support relics. I like getting Fortifying Shell, and then, you know, you could get Emblem of Trembling. Now, these are really useful, giving your allies a shield. That's always useful. And this just slows enemies, and if they get hit and deal X amount of percent of their HP, they get a tremble effect, which is really useful. But if you guys found this guide useful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys later.